Hi, welcome back to another Terranscapes rapid fire critique. So let's just jump right in. Today we're going to be taking a look at David's piece. He wanted to get advice on applying snow, and he's using Deluxe Materials Scenic Snow. Comes with some glitter in it. Now, I have not used that style of snow, that product I should say, before, so I can't speak to it directly, but I think probably a lot of general concepts about snow will work. He found that applying a sealant ruined the smooth transition from dense to light, and he's applied a new layer of snow, roughly brushed everything off, and then used a spray sealant, which seemed to work better, and he's wondering what method I have found to be best. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Let's see, he talks about the skulls, and he puts some snow on top. Okay, Oh, add grass, give the boards more life. Scenery pieces to help give the board more interest. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at the photos. Okay, so, and we have some directional lighting, right? So these are all in shadow. First, taking a look at the snow, because that was one of his main concerns. And there is some, some transition issues he's mentioning, and I think we can take a look at that in a better picture. Let's see, we'll just go through them all. Let's just do that. Okay. So I'm wondering if this shows a close-up of first or second attempt. Little hard to say. Okay, but we'll move on. We'll talk a little bit about this. First, just to talk about what I like about the board is I like the overall color scheme. I think these boards can be very challenging to paint. And having some of this darker color in here, as well as some of the lighter grays, and it breaks it up and it gives it kind of a nice mottled look. My main concern with that is that it looks, maybe not, almost looks like they were painted together, maybe not. And sometimes breaking up these lines can be tricky, because if you have a patch that reaches the edge, then it will stand out more when you put it up against another board that doesn't have that patch. Take this out of the time, I have just written, as of this shooting, not as of this posting, a Patreon column on modular boards, and in one of those columns, there's like 4 in the series right now, I discuss how to make transitions between boards less noticeable. So if you're interested on more on that, you should go to my Patreon page and you can see that there. I wish I had a little pause button on my timer, because every time I stop it, it just resets. So the challenge here is the snow, and snow is not easy. I think it's one of the most difficult things to do, and getting a nice feathered pattern around the snow patches can be tricky. And here we're showing some brush strokes from the glue, and that is its own issue. Got it. It took me a second to figure it out. So this is what it looks like you're doing, and you're applying the snow with a brush. And all right, I got to go back though. I got to go back to his, what did he say? Sealant ruined the smooth transition. New layer of snow with stronger glue, brushed everything off and used a sealant spray. All right, it's a little tricky to know exactly what he's doing for a technique. I was thinking applying glue and then applying the snow and then brushing it off and then maybe sprinkling on some more. I'm not sure. All right, so I'm going to stop this for a second. This will be a slightly longer rapid fire, because to try to describe what I would do is a little different than just saying what you've done. In the simplest description, not to go into like a full talk, actually, I have a Patreon column that talks about snow and describes materials and methods of application, and has some tips and tricks. I forgot I even wrote that. There's a lot of them on there. You should check them out. So I'm going to give you a very brief summary, and then you can go check out the Patreon column if you're interested in a more in-depth description. But in the simplest manner, I would apply a layer of snow, seal it, apply another layer of snow, seal it, and continue to do so until I build up the depth that looks right to me. And by sprinkling it on, all right, you will get a natural feather pattern, and then you can increase your sprinkling in richer areas to try to bring it to a stronger white. And that will go a long way towards creating a smooth transition between the two. Now, I've used a very fine mist of PVA and water. It has to be very fine. And I've been able to seal it quite effectively without losing the translucency or the white of the snow. Now, I have not used Scenic Deluxe Scenics material, so I can't necessarily say much about it, but I think that you will be hard-pressed to get a smooth transition unless you're a really excellent dry brush glue applicator, right? And you feather that out. But even still, it's not going to look right. You have to lay it down and seal it naturally. Let the snow fall where it may. That's where it would have landed, and then seal it. So that will fix a lot of these problems, because brushing glue on is invariably going to create hard lines that will not give you, I think, the result that you were hoping for. So, for instance, on the building, he's done, I think, something similar to what I was just describing, right? So the snow is kind of captured. Now, if he's done that with a brush, do we have a closer photo? We might. Oh, God. Well, I don't know. Time's all messed up on these. Looking at the details. Those are kind of nice skulls. They seem a little different for GW. Okay. It looks like he has done that mostly, I think. So this, maybe not though. Maybe you've applied a little bit of glue and then sprinkled snow on, which actually looks fairly not bad. I mean, but you would get a better effect if you lightly sprinkle it over the whole surface, and then it will collect, where it may, on the skull tops and on the gargoyle tops and on the railing, and then you can seal that, and it will give you a more natural distribution. There are ways to add, little piles in the side, and I go into that in my column in more detail. Columns. I think there might be 3, and there's a new product on the market. Well, not new, maybe new to some of you, which is an aerosol. It's no, it's not an aerosol. It's a very, very fine textured glue that you seal and apply. They recommend using hairspray. I discuss in my column some thoughts on its durability, but the effect is fantastic. And then you can get some of this like windswept collecting to the sides, which you can't get by the method I just described. Hopefully some of that made sense. Go read my columns. I spent a lot of time on them, and I think they'll be more helpful than what I'm saying right now. So let's, why is my computer... And so the second attempt here, I think, is more natural looking. And that is one of the risks. It's sort of like weathering powder. When you seal materials like this, sometimes they fade or get less noticeable. And that's why multiple applications to get the effect you want are needed. So I guess I'm going to take a second here and just do a quick comment on the buildings. I like them. They're really nice. That's why I want to comment on them. I think you've done a really nice job. This weathering on this roof is really, really great. I love how it's dark and it sort of feels brooding. Nice color choices. I know GW has done, I think, some models like this with this blue, but I think you've captured a nice, unique feel with that color. I think it's really nice. And the shading on this, see how nice this is? Look at all these little stones, all dark, bright. It really gives it a three-dimensional look that might otherwise be lost if you were just, painting it and dry brushing it. This is a much more visually interesting look. And your metal effect is very interesting. This is, the light from the flash, I'm presuming, maybe just the ambient light, whatever you're shining on this. But I like that. Did you paint that in? I don't know. Getting these kinds of highlights on metals can be a real trick, and little things like that catch my eye. I think that's enough about snow and enough about the boards and about this buildings. Nice buildings. I like them. Look at how sooty that is. See that? It's not sooty, but you know what I mean? It has that dirty, weathered look. It feels dirty. It feels old. It's great. I'd actually like to see some of this carried over onto this building. Not necessary, but man, that just feels grim and dark. It's very nice. It's very nice. So hopefully you found this rapid fire critique somewhat helpful after I stumbled over snow for some time. But as I've mentioned in the past, you can go to my Patreon page and see all of my columns. They are usually collected as a group, and right now that group is somewhere near the top. And once I finish the modular board series, I'm going to recollate it all into a single post, so you can check them out there. And there's quite a few now. I've been adding to them. So just before I go, I recorded this a little while ago, so I'm changing the wrap-up of it because it's not current anymore. So I just want to thank you again for joining me. It always makes a huge difference for me. And questions and comments and suggestions for the artists, welcome down below. It's great when the community really gives some feedback. I think everybody benefits from that. And hopefully you're sticking with me for October. It's a little bit of a challenge trying to shoot a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to get a bunch of things ready for October, but if you're sticking around with me, I will stick to it. So hopefully you stick around for October to see my 2 videos. It's Rapid Fire Friday, and Tuesday is a product or project video, and Wednesdays is a mini vid for my patrons. If you want to help me with my quest to get a pressure casting pot set up for the Elftown project, you can always go to Patreon. I got it. What is this? I'm getting used to this. And you can make a small monthly pledge. You can make a pledge. You can make a pledge. You could make a podge. Whatever works for you. It's always super appreciated. So stay tuned to the channel, because Tuesday I'm going to have another video up, so you know that I'm actually going to be back soon with another Terranscapes video.